This video is about animations in CSS. So what I need to do for CSS is simply go ahead and define an animation name. This can be to a class or to a IMG tag, a tag like IMG. I'll just do it as a class, dot ABC. And then what you need to do first is add an animation name. This is slightly different than animations with transitions with hover. Animation name, Wednesday, good enough, okay. Next one is the animation duration. Animation duration is whatever, two seconds, okay, good enough. Now, for the most part, that's about it in terms of the requirements, okay. So in this case, I got to have something on the screen, so I'm going to go ahead and do like a box, much like I did with animations with 100 pixels. With hover, okay, with is 100 pixels, okay, good. Now all I need here, so the logistics of setting up the animation is just an animation name and animation duration. Now there's a keyword here called keyframes. So at keyframes, and then it's simply put the name of the animation. In this case, I called it Wednesday, wiggly bracket. And then go ahead and do a from and to. So now you want to say, well, this is what the property I want, and this is the transition I want to make. So go from, let's do what? Let's do, I think we did last at border radius. We did a border radius, okay. Can't spell. Border.radius is 3 pixels, and I get color, some sort of color, background. So we've got a square of some sort, red. Okay, so I got my from, and then the other keyword I need is to. So the computer knows, hey, where are you going to? Again, the assumption is that these two properties need to be exactly the same, except the different settings. So border radius is, I'll do 50% like we did the last, and do then background. And make that orange or any color you want. Okay, there you go. Now I need a wiggly bracket that'll end my keyframe animation. So really quickly, I'm going to have a little cube, a square. It's going to change it from red to orange, and then get that same shape. Okay. Now in my body command, I simply got to go ahead and simply put my div. In this case, with a class equals ABC. There you go. And because I'm defining a cube here inside my class, I don't necessarily have to put any text. I'm good enough to go right as it is. So there you go. So div. Let's double check before I go background. Oh, misspelled it wrong. So I tend to be background. And then height with animation. Okay, there you go. Control S. Refresh. And then I get a square, and then there you go, it changes and disappears. Now I have to refresh the web page because by default it only plays the animation once. I don't have to hover over it, I don't have to move the mouse, the animation automatically plays. Okay, so let's do some other options we can go ahead and do. I'm just going to quickly go through them. First one is iteration. Iteration count. I can give you a specific name. So animation dot iteration count. Let's do infinite. There you go. You can obviously put as many as you want. Control S, refresh, and then got my animation now playing as many times as I want. Okay, obviously you got a couple other options. You can got animation direction. I don't want to spend the entire, you can just check my notes. These are pretty basic for all the animations. So let's do animation direction. Direction by default is forward. We can do it in reverse. There you go, cool. And reverse, I can't spell it. Reverse. And then the other thing I want to talk about is steps, timing. There's ease in, ease out, sort of like what I talked about before with hover animation. Ease in means I start slow, get faster. Ease out means I can start fast, go slow. I can put bells or curves on this so I can control it. And you can also do steps. Steps I think is sort of fun. So let's go ahead and try that. It gives you more of a jagged look. So let's go animation timing. Function, animation, timing, function, and there you go, and then do steps, it's plural, and then as many as 4. There you go. So let's go ahead and review. So now what I'm going to do is I've got an animation that's going to play forever. It's going to go backwards, and it's going to do its function in steps. So it's not going to be linear. By default, it smoothly goes from one to another. So Control S, refresh, and then get it to go. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. So I go from boom, 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 and I'm going reverse, and I'm going by steps. Okay, so I'm sorry, from round, I'm going backwards to a cube. Okay, there's another one. Just check the notes. Animation delay. I can have a negative animation delay, which means my animation starts like if I had negative 2 seconds. That means the animation plays 2 seconds into the animation. Okay, so there you go. So next thing I want to talk about here is let's do one with just P. Well, we could do this also. We could do it with the cube. Next thing I want to talk about is, Korea, I want this cube. That's cute. I got my cube moving. I want it to start moving. So guys, we can do that. The only requirement is that the positioning needs to be relative. So let's go ahead and do that. So position. Relative, and then you simply got to provide it its beginning and ending location. So I'm going to go from a top 0 pixels to top 200 pixels. Now you can use left, right, whatever you want. 200 pixels. So what's going to happen? This cube is going to move down a little bit in 4 steps from 0 to 200. So Control S, refresh, and I get my animation. Boom. Okay, so now I get it in reverse also, going from 200 back up to 1. So the only requirement there, if you want movement, you simply got to make that position relative to make it work. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Except let's do it with text. There's a common one that's called, especially for text, sliding in and sliding out. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just make it, change this to P rather than ABC of class. I want all this text to wind in. I can sort of keep a lot of this stuff. All I need to do is start to play games with what I change. So P. And then text slash P. Okay, then what we can do is a lot of times you can play games with the margin and it looks impressive. It looks good. I mean, here I'll just show you a common one. Hey, Korea, I don't want to move. Margin left is 300. No, make it 100. So that means my margin, this text is going to show up here off the screen, and then it's going to be the width maybe just to make it 300, just to make sure it's off the screen completely. And then I'm going to go ahead, delete the red. Well, yeah, delete red. And, position, no, because that'll overrule it. And the other thing I want you to do, change real quickly here, is my height and width. Otherwise I need it to, otherwise it'll be limited to that little box and it'll look like nothing's happening. Now next one is margin left, and then make it 0. So I want it now to start in from the right, go to the left all the way to the end, and make my width standard 100%. You're good to go. The semicolon there, it should be good. Control S, and then refresh, and then my text should move in. Nope. Let's look. Typo somewhere. Semicolon. I forgot my semicolon there. Let's do margin left. Margin, width. I think that's about the only one. Margin left. So Control S, refresh, and the animation did work. Let me see. Margin left, Wednesday. Animation position relative. Get rid of that. Let me get rid of the position relative because I'm not defining it. Control S. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. Boom. Nope. It's not working. Not sure exactly sure. Animation name. Oh, I didn't buy on Book 7 School. I've not defined the P property, so I deleted the class style, but I didn't put what I want affected. So in this case, I want the P tag affected, so I want to zoom in from the left to the right, get it to go. I believe that's it. Control S, refresh. There you go. Okay. Now, hey, Kriya, why is it going left to right? What did I do initially? Let's go check out the code. Is it doing it right? Well, you said it was going to go from right to left. Remember, what I did here is I made the direction reverse. So I can delete that, Control S, and now refresh it. Now the text sort of slides in from the left. You don't like that step-by-step function. Again, we can just clean it up. Hey, Kriya, I don't like that step-by-step function, so simply delete it. Again, I just wanted to go over the details. Infinite, there you go. Control S, refresh, and now the text, oops, comes in nice and smooth. There you go. So again, just by controlling some of these options, you get you can do a lot of things with it. I want to talk about one more thing. I know the video is going long, but I do want to add one more. I can add additional keyframes to this code. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. How we do that is simply put in a percent. So let's do, I don't know, 75%. So for some reason, 75% through this animation, I want some things to happen. Okay? So maybe I'm going to just change a couple things from my notes. I'll follow it 300%. Maybe I want 300%. I want bigger. I want margin left. Maybe 20. I wanted to jump. I wanted to be at 25%. Again, none of these numbers are sacred. Just make it up if you so choose. And then I went the width to get to 150. So what it's going to happen is it's going to sort of jerk back a little bit because I'm going from 300 to 150 and then drop to down to 100%. Control S, semicolon, wiggly bracket. I have now defined that 75%. When you're 75%, adding an additional keyframe, I want the font size to be 300, margin to be 25%. 150. So it's Control S, refresh, and then there you go. So now my margin comes down because of my text size. The screen gets bigger, then jumps up to the right corner like I did before. So in this case, by using percents, check my notes. I've got a couple notes there where I do 20, 30, 40 with color, all sorts of things you can do. I know this video is going long, so I'm just going to end it here. Check the notes, but you should have a good handle on how to do CSS animation in HTML.